Hey, everybody, welcome to Making Sense of It All. My group of guys from the Tin Cup Club are joining me today to talk about the 2025 Open Championship. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Wes, I gotta go to you first. I feel like I always save you for last, but your backgrounds have been stellar, and this is nothing short of that.
Hey, you got to be prepared for the program. That's all.
Amen to that. Dr. Blakely, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Dr. Shelton, we appreciate you coming back and joining us.
Not on call today, so the first part of that was inappropriate.
And Mr. Padron, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir. I had to rest on the last one. It was too many podcasts in a row, so I took the U.S. Open off, but I'm ready to go for the Open Championship.
Yeah, we didn't schedule that for anybody special there either. No comment, no comment on that. All right, so as we have done with all of these, we're going to kind of go around and talk about what everyone has in front of them and what's in your cup. So, Wes, what are you drinking today?
Well, in honor of the Open Championship, we got a little 12-year Redbreast.
Nice.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Shelton, what do you got?
I went with my Old Faithful, which is just Four Roses single barrel.
Very cool. Padron?
I kind of went with the West theme.
Atta
Little
boy.
more,
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Tullamore
Very
Dew
nice.
Irish whiskey.
You even got it in the Winnie the Pooh honey pot thing there too.
Love it, man. I love it.
Blakely, what you
Where's
got?
the house for this?
Yeah, I just went with some standard American whiskey. I have Uncle Nearest.
Nice. I'm drinking Blanton straight from the barrel, about 130 proof. So I apologize if I get a little loose at the end of this thing, guys.
Is that number 7?
It would at least. If you know, you know.
Exactly.
So, Wes, we're talking about the Open Championship today. It's the oldest major around. It's ever since they moved the PGA Championship, it wraps up the major season. What are your thoughts around it? What does it mean to you?
I think it's always great to watch the best players in the world play a different style of golf than we're used to seeing week in and week out. The luck of the draw is definitely going to be a factor this week, which I think is always cool, but it's different type of golf. I don't mind waking up at 4:30 and throw it on and start watching it. And by noon, 1, 2 o'clock, golf is done, and I've watched a full day of golf. So I love it. I think the style of play is really cool, and you get to see these guys see how creative they actually get around the greens and approaches.
No doubt. Blakely, do you enjoy watching? Is it something that you like to see every year?
Yeah, I do like to see it just because it's different. I wouldn't say on the list of majors, I probably don't have it at the top, but I like seeing it because it's different. It's something I've never really played anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. And then to Wes's point, like the creativity thing, you see a lot of people hitting a lot of different shots that they may not, you wouldn't normally see on a normal course. And so I like that part of it.
No doubt.
So looking forward to it. Plus it's at back at Royal Portrush. So, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's one of those things to me is it's like I think it's an older venue. It's 137 years old. It is cool. I think it's neat that they've kept it relevant enough to stay in the Open Championship rotation. But I think it's just like anything else. It's like it's cool in your mind, but it's like when you haven't experienced it, you haven't been able to feel it or touch it. Sometimes it's one of those things. It's more of it's whatever it is to you almost at that point, because it's just a concept. It's not necessarily a like something physical that we can actually touch like you can with a lot of the major venues around the United States that you can go to. Shelton, what are your thoughts around the Open Championship?
This may be the most un-American thing I'll say as an American captain on Tin Cup, but sneakily, it may be my favorite major. I think they all have. I just love the unpredictability of it. Augusta's great, wonderful views, the terrain, same place every year, but here you don't know what kind of conditions you're going to get, and you're not always rewarded with the perfect shot. So it's just, you can hit a perfect shot down the middle, it funnels into a little pot bunker, and next thing you know, you're walking over the double. Look at Rory a couple of years ago. Hit an iron off the tee on number 1, straight out of bounds. I think he ended up taking it unplayable later that hole, and so he was, I think, a quad bogey on number one. You don't see those guys doing that very many places.
Fair point. But Jerome, what are your thoughts around it?
Man, I agree 100% with Sheldon. I said when we started this whole majors thing, it was just behind the Masters, and I included the players in that, that's a whole other argument. But this is one of the ones that I get excited about the most, man. And Wes made a good point. It's one of the only ones you can wake up and turn it on. That was the coolest thing about the Scottish Open this last week is it was on in the morning, and it's just done. You have your whole day after it's already over. Um, I think it's one of the coolest. Just watching that style of golf that we never ever get to see. You get to play. We get to play American links, I guess, every once in a while, but nothing like that. And I think it's my favorite type of golf, just from the courses I've played that are links style. I can't imagine how cool it is out there.
Yeah, no, I got pretty lucky with a trip we just took as a family, and I got the opportunity to go play in Ireland, play a links course, and it was, it's I can't say that it's Royal Portrush. The one thing I can tell you is like I don't know, what makes one links course more difficult than another. When you look at the land, you look at like there's definitely contours to it. It's not necessarily flat, but it's also there's there's almost like it's almost like a blank canvas in a lot of ways compared to the type of parkland golf that we get here in the United States or desert golf or anything where you've got routing that you almost have to follow. And it's to me some of it's interesting because it's like one of the biggest things that I wasn't prepared for. I didn't even think to prepare for it. And granted, I was using a set of rental clubs, so I wasn't familiar with the sticks that I was using, but the ground feels totally different. Like as far as when you're striking the ball, I mean, if you've never done it before, it does feel different. It is a completely different feeling, like as far as the turf and what it gives back to you. And then also the way the ball reacts off the ground. I mean, it's like that's one thing I don't think anybody can tell you, hit a club less or, play for the front of the green or whatever they want to say, but you're not prepared for the fact that, it's literally bounding forward off of a lob wedge shot. And that's just, I mean, like to me, like some of that, it's amazing how much spin some of those guys put on it. When you see them actually shot grab after this, I will have a completely different respect for how solid these guys hit the ball. Along those lines, and just like for me, I guess the next thing that I think about with this is you guys said it in one way or another. Almost everybody said it. It's a completely different style of golf. We're talking about links. I mean, for the most part, you don't see the Open Championship on any kind of a parkland course. It is a links. It's a links tournament. It is somewhere along the ocean. They're all true links courses for them. Like, maybe sans one that I'm not thinking about, but Shelton, like as far as when you think about links golf, is it, like, do you think that it is something that favors one type of player or another? Do you feel like it's something like from a style perspective that like it eliminates certain players, or do you think it's just different and those guys are so good that they just adapt to it?
I missed that last part, but I think it does fit the European players more in the fact they're used to playing this. Again, we don't do this very often over here. Here, the ball is hit it as high and far as you can, get it on the green putt. There, it's a completely different ball game. I mean, it's so I do think probably the biggest factor is mental. I mean, you have to be able to get over some bad shots or bad breaks that you're going to get and just keep grinding. And again, it also depends kind of on the draw too. I mean, with the elements that come in to play, we don't get that. We know when the storms are coming here in the U.S. Over there, the closest I could say we played would be like Bandon, particularly. And it's funny how the weather can change within 15 minutes. Right. You have to be able to, just stay in your game, stay shot to shot, use the Ted Lasso reference, be a goldfish. Whoever can be that goldfish and get over a couple bad shots or bad holes, I think is the one that can hoist the trophy on Sunday.
Yeah. Wes, do you think somebody like you think about, they always talk about Texas being so windy and like so many golfers that come out of Texas, they say they hit the ball lower. They play a little bit different style than people who come out of California or Florida or different places. Do you think that those guys are playing a style of golf that fits well to link style golf, or do you think it's even different than that?
I think it definitely helps those type of players that are comfortable keeping the ball low and running on the ground. But yeah, I mean, this place tends to fall into like, all right, who's got the better luck of the draw? You don't get, the absolute just 40-mile-an-hour winds. But I think it's the guys that are able to control their golf ball. Like I know it's cliche, but man, you got to control it in these type of winds, making sure the equipment is right. I mean, these guys in the practice round, they're testing, you know, more driving irons. The 7 woods and 9 woods are coming out of the bag. So I think it's about preparation, and we all know these guys can hit the shots, but it's the ones that can really control the spin, understand the course, and are willing to get super creative.
Yeah. Blakely, do you think that it translates like on television? I mean, like we get you have people who are describing it to us. You got people who are talking about, what it kind of looks like, but do you think that it actually like do you feel like listening to it and kind of watching on television, you have a very clear picture of what that probably looks like in real life, or do you feel like it's kind of it's almost a narration and we're just having to kind of take their word for it, almost like watching the Food Channel and watching somebody cook something. It's like
Mhm.
you can kind of hear their description of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it would be something you'd like, even if Guy Fieri or whoever it is telling you how wonderful it is.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of think the latter, like what you're saying there, because when I watch it, um, you know how you were saying the apartment golf is kind of everything is kind of cored out. You have to go this way, hit the dog leg, go there. When I look at it on TV, everything is just out there in front of you. I know that there's undulations, like you were saying, the ground is not just flat, but it's really hard to tell. When I see in the background all the flags whipping and the waves kind of in the ocean, I know it's super windy, but I can't really appreciate, I guess, the landscape that those guys are playing on when I'm looking at these tournaments. Everything, I hate to use the word bland, but usually it's an overcast sky coming in. The grass might not be green like we're playing in Scottsdale or something. And
Right.
so I get a hard time kind of keying in on what they're looking at. But I understand just when the announcers, because I think they do a good job, are kind of talking about it and explaining the shot, a little bit of what they're facing. But yeah, I do think it's kind of hard to pick up on some of those keys for me personally.
I think that's 100%, a very good way to explain it. I mean, that's even like my wife when we were over there, just she was like, "Hey," she's like, "I understand that this is really cool to you." She's like, "But this is not even close to being the most beautiful place I've ever seen that we've
Mhm.
been to where you play golf." I mean, she's like, "We've been to so many cool, beautiful places, and then it's like, and then you got this piece of flat land, and I don't get it." So 100%. I think that's spot on. Padron, what do you think about like preparation for it? Like you have all of these people that come over, we have so many Americans that play in it or people from all over the world that come from different places. In today in 2025, do you think that preparing on a simulator, preparing, on trying to find the most similar golf course, what do you think is probably, just your thoughts on how do people in the professional game today, how can they prepare without taking a trek over there and just playing the course themselves?
I mean, I think that's why the Scottish Open got so big. I mean, that's their
Fair.
preparation right before.
Yeah.
But another, like Wes said, you can't really prepare because you don't know what you're going to get on Thursday. You don't know what you're going to get on Friday. You don't know like Saturday. That's the hardest thing to do. And even what was the U.S. Open course? I mean, that was our style of the links. I mean,
Mm.
although the rough was way worse than it would be in Ireland or Scotland, but I don't know if they can actually prepare because you can't prepare for the elements. Like Shelton said earlier, we played Bannon Dunes, and that's what I would consider an American links style course. And I thought I was prepared, but when you get out there and you're like, oh crap, you turn into the wind and it's a whole different world. I mean, it's just you don't know. Everything seems to be right out in front of you, but you're a bounce away from it completely going awry. So I don't know if they actually can prepare here. I think that's why a lot of the guys you've seen go to that Scottish Open, at least get a week or two in there practicing in these elements or as close to the elements as they possibly can. And the equipment is a difference too. I mean, like you saw Goddard was carrying a 1 iron around, and he won the tournament. I mean, he didn't use it a ton, but that's what they're trying to get out there and just keep that ball as low as possible and just pierce through the wind. So it's a lot of equipment changes. It's a lot of different factors that they're going to have to take into account as the week goes.
Yeah, no doubt. Wes, I'd like you to weigh in on that too, just as as someone who teaches people, as someone who's, kind of teaching people how to, vary their ball flight, do what they need to do to control their ball. I'd love to hear your opinion on that too.
Yeah, I mean, they have to learn to come back to equipment. You got to make sure the ball's right. If I'm teaching someone how to hit it low, it's not necessarily putting the ball in the back of your stance and hit down more. I mean, we don't want the more you kind of hit down on it, if you get a little bit of loft on it, your spin loft goes up, and all of a sudden that thing is spinning all over the place. So when you're teaching someone to hit it low and you're like, I'd rather them 3/4 it, take an extra club, and just let the loft of the club do a little bit of the work. And I think the big one is getting people a little bit more creative about keeping the ball on the ground around the greens too. Because here in the United States, it's pretty much you get your 60 out, open up the face, and kind of chop through the rough, and kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it's boring. Over there, you can get hybrids out. You can, turn down your 7-iron, bump it into the hill. You can hit the flop shot, even though the lies are tough there, but they're going to have the equipment. Getting used to those pop bunkers and the sand in it. There's just so many variables these guys are needing to prepare for. And to get someone ready for that, it's tough to simulate because, like I said, you don't know what you're going to get. And you might get wet sand that might be dry sand. You just don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's all great points, and I think that it's I guess as I always think that's the announcer's challenge is to like it's just like I said, I always think about the Food Network when I do because it's like you're trying to get people who most of your audience has never and will never go experience it. And so you're trying to describe to them what something feels, touches or tastes like that is you're never going to experience it for yourself. One of the things that I think about, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this, Blakely. The course record was held by Roy McIlroy. He set it in 2006. So think about how old he was when he set it originally. 61 he shot back then, and then when they redid the course, and after they redid the course, Shane Lowry actually has the official course record of today. It's a 63 that he shot in the U.S. Open, or excuse me, in the British Open. Apologize. Like, I think one of the biggest differences to me, like when it comes to the U.S. Open or the Masters or things like that versus the Open Championship, is that the Open Championship, if the wind dies down, if the elements are not protecting the golf course, those professionals can go out and crush that golf course.
Yeah.
Like versus you look at Oakmont, like you brought up the U.S. Open, nobody's going out there. I mean, sans, Johnny Miller shooting a 62 on it, again, you're talking about 40 years ago or whatever it was. I mean, no one's touched it since, but it's like people aren't going out there and doing that to those golf courses that they play the U.S. Open on. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, as far as like, does that matter to you, or does that make it less of a championship or more of a championship? Like, what do you think there?
I mean, I don't think it doesn't diminish it at all for me, because mainly for the reason that most of the time I watch it, there is some sort of storm that rolls in. It's not, I can't really remember 4 days of the British where it was just, sunshines and rainbows and people were out there just getting after it. Usually it looks like, it looks like a day that I would tell Shelton, hey, look, count me out. I'm not going to play today. And so I don't know if they just typically schedule it during times that they know they're going to have some weather, but it always kind of shakes out that way.
Are you saying you don't own rain gloves?
So I do own rain gloves now, but yeah. I have a rain jacket that I've never worn because when it rains, I just don't go. But I'm fine if it's an easy course. It doesn't diminish the fact that it is a championship. You could play a golf course. Where did they just have the Open at? It was a
U.S. Open.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, not the U.S. Open, the PGA, because they play at Quail Hollow all the time. But when you play it in the PGA, there's a different vibe. There's more on the line. So even if it's an easier course and the weather is down, it's still the British Open, so there's a lot more on the line. And so it doesn't really diminish it for me.
Fair. But John, what do you think about that?
No, it definitely does. I don't think it diminishes. I think it makes it way more fun with the weather element. And yeah, like you made a good point with the course record thing. I mean, it's true. Like it was like whoever has, you said Rory holds the record. He was playing a different course that day, although he can go out there and shoot any conditions. Hopefully this weekend, can go out there and shoot as low as he possibly can. Um, but it could be four different courses. Shoot, it could be eight different courses. If you're in the afternoon wave or early wave, it's just throughout the weekend. I think it makes it more fun. I mean, I think that's why I like it. I mean, we keep going back to Bandon Dunes. That's the only experience I have of it. Like we played Bandon Trails, and we got seven different types of weather. It felt like the entire time we were like during just that round.
Right.
Sure did. Sure did.
You had your raincoat on, you had it off, you had the rain gloves on, you had the rain gloves off, you had a coat on, you had a coat off, you had short sleeves on. It was like literally you had rain pants on, you took them back off. It was the entire day. And that's how it is. You'll see it. I mean, that's how it is here at this. And I think that's what makes it fun. I think that these professionals need something to keep them on their toes constantly. And that's what this type of tournament is going to do.
Yeah, but Shelton, do you think it's fair? Like if somebody goes out in the morning wave and they've got no weather, they go out, on Thursday or Friday, there's no wind, it's sunshine, and then the guys out in the afternoon go out there and it's 35-mile-an-hour whipping winds, raining, and it's best score is not within 7 shots of the morning wave. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's how a major championship should be competed?
I mean, I think fair is not the appropriate term. I mean, when you're in it and you see the storm coming and it's 2 o'clock and you're about to tee off, you probably think it's unfair. But I mean, this is the reason. I mean, even though we say it comes and goes, there are kind of seasonal and times when the weather does change, and this is why we do flip the tee times. You either go off early, late, or late, early, and that's the best ever we can do to provide them playing in the same conditions, unless you wanted to go the live route and everyone shotgun start and everyone's on the course at the same time. I don't really want to go there, especially for this sort of tournament. But yeah, I mean, there is a luck factor into it. I mean, but that's almost any sport, to be honest. I mean, in the NFL, if you're a running football team and it starts to pour, you're probably licking your chops. You're
Fair.
throwing the ball, you're like, oh shit, here comes rain. We're gonna have to change our game plan. So I mean, it's like life
They're on
and
the field at
sports
the
are
same time.
Yeah,
But they're
but
on the
that,
field at the same time. If you're talking about football or baseball or any sport where weather is affecting somebody at the same time, like you're right, it might favor one or the other, but they both have to deal with it at the exact same time.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, going back to I think the mental horde, like you just have to suck it up and know when you start to go out on that first tee box, the weather may be coming, and you just play what you can, do what you can do, and play shot to shot, hole to hole, and knowing that the next day, like I said, you may go out early in the morning and get a little bit of rain, and it's beautiful that afternoon. The next morning, you may have no wind in anything, and then the afternoon, the blizzard comes essentially. So is it fair? Yes. I mean, you'd want everyone to play in the exact same conditions, but I do think the tee times they do what they can with the unpredictability of the weather.
All right, so I'm going to flip this around a little bit for you, Wes. Like, it's not necessarily when I say fair. One of the things that I think about is gambling has become such a huge thing in sports right now, bigger than it's ever been. And so when you're like, let's say you're choosing somebody on like for the weekend, like, and I'll throw this out to everybody, especially Mike Padron, because I know Padron is a resident expert sports gambler at this point. But like, does it
Not a very good one.
Does it change how you like do you look at the tee times and do you look at the weather to think about who am I going to select to win this tournament?
You have to.
Yes.
I think this is the one you have to. And honestly, you're kind of looking at that at the other ones, but this is the big one. And hell, sometimes the forecast they're like, oh, it's going to come in late, and it never does. And then it's like all of a sudden the storm's there in the morning of the tee times when it wasn't supposed to be. So overall, I think they do a pretty good job of, the weather forecast, what they can do. But man, you got to pay attention to it. You got to really see what the waves are. Is it going to be early, late, late, early? You got a few sprinkled in there that's kind of floating in the middle. So yeah, you got to pay attention to it. This is the one that you pay attention to the most.
Padron?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a very good one, but I do look at I love the first round leader bet, only because you get really good odds. Even Scheffler's at a plus 1400 right now at a first round leader. But I think the weather comes into play that much more. So if you see that the weather is going to be beautiful in the morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Scheffler's going off the afternoon, Rory going off the afternoon, you might get really good odds for like a Jake Knapp or something. I don't even know if he's in this damn thing, but like a Jake Knapp that can go out there and just fire a 62, or early in the morning, and you might want to throw some money at him. So that's what I would look at more on the first round leader bets. And then you can kind of do the second round leader bet and third round, like you can do it as the week goes. I think they do a really good job of trying to get these guys late, early, late. But if the weather's coming in the afternoon and staying through the following morning, then those guys are screwed. So you really do, I think, like Wes said, you look at this more than another tournament. But I do love betting on those early morning Thursday guys, especially for the first round leader bets.
Blakely, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm starting to figure out why I'm in last place.
I feel like I saw some things right in your face there where you're like, hey, I might change my picks here.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes a ton of sense for any tournament, but especially for this one. Because when you were talking about, is it fair or not fair? I mean, every golf tournament, I feel like every time I'm watching one, the announcer's like, oh, and it's much better for these guys going off in the afternoon,
Mhm.
And so it always changes. And, they do make their best attempt to flip it, to make it as equitable as possible. But to answer your original question, yeah, I think that's definitely something you got to think about. I might look up a couple of forecasts before we get to the end of the podcast.
So before Blakely has a chance to, Mike Padron, I'm going to turn it over to you to grab everybody's picks for the Open Championship.
All right.
To say this, the tee times for the official rounds have not been released yet, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
All right, so this is tough because Jesse and Wes have kind of gone out to a pretty good lead. Jesse at 5.5 million, Wes at 4.7 million. The issue is the winner for the Open is only going to get 3.1. So you're going to have those two guys tank, and you're going to have two top five finishes in your roster here. So this is going to be tough. I sent everybody a list of the picks you've already made this year. You've each have made 6 picks. So if there is a repeat pick, I will throw the buzzer on you, and you got to make another one. So Blakely with his $434,000 will be picking first.
Oh God,
It's a lot of money.
When you say it like that, I'm gonna go with Scotty Scheffler.
The odds-on favorite. Actually, I was
surprised.
He's the odds-on favorite this week, so that's a damn good pick. I'm picking next, and I will go with the second favorite this week with Rory McIlroy.
Blakely, I got
not feeling good about him.
If I don't win, I hope that you win this week. Let me just say.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Blakely could have. He needs 2 first place winners to achieve.
It'll be the first ever tie,
guys. They're just going to shake hands like the Ryder Cup and say, "All right, we're tying this thing." I didn't feel good about Rory until this last week. I may have actually skipped him here if he didn't play as well as he did this week. So I don't know. That's probably a bad thing for me. But all right, Sheldon, you're next, man.
I think I'm going to go chalk with the odds, at least according to the site I'm looking at, and go John Rahm.
You got it, man. That was definitely one of my picks. I didn't feel like you'd get to me, but Rahm was off the board. Jesse. No, not Jesse. Sorry. Wes.
I am going to go with the big golfer, Bryson.
How do you think he's going to do in a course like this? Because he is high and full.
Obviously, he thinks he's going to win. Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying, like somebody like him that's just a bomber. Can he hit those stingers?
I mean, if you think about how jacked down his lofts are and his irons, he may not have to hit a lot of drivers. And he has been experimenting with balls, so he's probably got, if it's windy, I guarantee he's got a low spin ball coming in, and he's got a high spin ball. I guarantee he's already thought about it. So I don't mind him. I like the distance because he can just hit those low lofted irons off the tee and keep it in play. So
yeah.
Guys, when you get a chance, look up his new 6-degree fairway wood that he had
Yep.
made for the U.S.
Yep.
Open. So,
Well, it didn't work in the U.S. Open.
excuse me. Again, the Open
Oh, the
Championship.
Open champion, the British.
British
Let's just call it the British Open. Yeah. All right, Jesse, you got back-to-back picks here.
Okay, I'm gonna go with, even though I don't, I'm gonna go with Tommy Fleetwood because I think he's due for his first win, and even if he doesn't win, I think the guy's gonna finish up there near the top of the leaderboard. And another guy that I think is due is Ludwig Oberg. So I'm gonna take those two guys.
That's two solid picks there. I had Tommy on top of my list here next, after you guys took Rom. So,
Yep.
okay, so now we're back to Wes for pick number 2.
All right, I'm going out on a major limb here, and this is either going to screw me or I'm going to look like a fucking genius. I'm going to go Matt Fitzpatrick.
That's not
Cam Smith.
That's not a huge limb, man. I was watching this weekend. He played very, very well, and he looks like his game's coming back around, and he is hard to beat when he's up on the top of the leaderboard.
Like, just looking at his past 4 finishes, he's been T17, T8, T4. So, and his strokes gain are trending in the right direction, and he's from on that side of the pond.
Tipped cross-handed, so that helps.
Got to be worth something, right?
Yeah, right. All right, Sheldon.
I was gonna say the Fitzpatrick pick. He's plus 5,500. I think he's the 16th highest seeded person, so I don't think it's that big of a limb. But we'll leave it there. I'm gonna go with. I had narrowed it down to 2, but I know one of these is very close to a drone. He has some pictures at TPC with them, but I think I'm gonna leave him in case he wants them. But I'm gonna go with Bob to the Rob McIntyre.
Good pick.
He was the other one.
He was on my
one.
side.
I'm surprisingly not going Straka, even though he's my twin brother. I'm kind of going limb here as well, although 3 for 3 in majors because they can only play majors. T14, T4, T60. I'll leave that off. We're gonna go Tyrell, however the hell you say it, Hatton. That's my
yeah.
I don't even know how you say it.
I like that.
We're gonna go Hatton as my pick. Plus, I like to watch him blow up every once in a while.
So you're gonna know about the third hole what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna pick Lowry.
Yes, I love it.
Well done.
Yeah, I wasted Lowry last week because I wasn't on the podcast, and that's what happens when you're not on it. I was saving Rory and Lowry for this reason, but you guys took all the other picks, and so Jesse couldn't get with me to pick another one. So you have to go with my last pick, which is Lowry.
Lowry.
I love it, man. So, all right, so we'll just recap real quick. Blakely got Scotty and Shane Lowry. I got Rory and Hatton. Shelton, Rom, and McIntyre. Wes, Bryson, and Fitz. Stakes got Tommy and Oberg. And there is 2 Americans picked out of the 10. So that should answer some of the questions we talked about earlier.
Unless we're completely wrong.
Well, Xander was out there for Jesse. Xander out there for Blakely. I'm surprised Xander was not picked by either of you because he is going to make the cut.
That's true.
But
Scheffler's number 1 in the world, and I feel like
he's the defending champ.
A little bit of magic.
Yep, Xander is defending champ, but Cam Smith's going to win it all this week. Anyway,
Lowry wanted this place.
2019. He used it up already. He can't win there again.
You don't know that.
I like Lowry. I like Lowry a lot this week.
He's been very pissed off golfer lately. Every time I see him on TV, he's bashing the.
Well, and he's been doing nothing but playing basically links courses for 3 weeks now. So he's stayed home. He's been home in Ireland for the last 3 weeks, and he was on the radio today. He listed like 10 courses in the area. He's just been playing nonstop. So I think he's kind of going to be rejuvenated. I think it's going to be a good week for Lowry. And there's nobody there's not another person that's better around the greens than he is, and more creative, like Wes was talking earlier. So, good pick.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like I'm I kind of, you brought it up when Wes picked Bryson, but I'm curious to see if somebody like him that tries to force their equipment to fit the course that he's playing, or tries to make technical changes as far as with what he's playing, if it helps him at all, or if it's just like pissing into the wind.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it would be
I
interesting.
pissed into the wind a lot in Bandon.
They would have the what's in the bag in some of the magazines, like after every tournament, to tell you it would be very interesting to see for the winner in general, but I would say Bryce even more so, like what is his normal setup versus what if he won, what did he have in the bag for this week? I think that would be a very interesting, we could do a whole podcast just on that.
Yep, for sure.
And we will.
All right, boys, I hope you enjoyed it this week. Cheers.
Definitely. Cheers.
All right, guys. See you, boys.
See you.